the first bottom line to appreciate the nature of what's happening is to understand the nature of those who are doing it. They're psychopaths. And if you look at the character traits, the official character traits of a psychopath, right at the top of the list is no empathy. They have no ability to put themselves in the feelings of those they affect. So they have no fail-safe mechanism to their behavior. You know, the rest of us who have empathy, we can look at the effect of our behavior on others, and we can put ourselves in how that would make others feel. And so that says, I'm not going to do that. It creates an emotional empathy, creates an emotional consequence for doing unpleasant things to other people. If you've not got that emotional consequence because you have no empathy, then there are no limits to what you can do. These people not only don't care about the horror, death, and destruction they cause, they love it. They love it. This is what we're dealing with. And so we must get through this idea that no one would be that evil as to do what I'm saying they're doing. And that they are clearly doing. Just look at the world. Yeah, no, you wouldn't be that evil. They would be, because they are. And evil, for me, my definition of evil is the absence of love. Mm-hmm. You take love out of human behavior and completely. You take empathy out of human behavior, compassion, and you have the cult. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're dealing with. And they have an agenda for the world, and especially for our children and grandchildren, ongoing. That is absolutely horrific. So if I had something to say to people as we finish, it is this: there is nothing, even approaching the importance in your life than standing up to this now and refusing to cooperate with it. None. You tell me, oh, my kids are more important. Well, your kids, what are your kids' lives going to be? If you look at where we are now, look at Australia again. That's only now. That's only 2021. It's not where they're meant to go ultimately. And your kids and grandkids are going to have to live in that world. And what we've seen is such a dereliction of parental duty. We're now playing out in this country, in Britain. Human society is human perception made manifest. People behave as they do because they perceive as they do. And why do they perceive as they do? Because of the information they receive. Anything from a Facebook post to a news broadcast to a personal experience. These are all forms of information through which people form their perception, which becomes their behavior. This is why you've got all the censorship, because the cult is after human perception. And the way you free yourself from that is you stop getting your information from mainstream sources and you start seeking out alternative ways of looking at the world and alternative information to get a different fix on the world that the mainstream is telling you to believe in. The BBC in this country is almost laughable, tragically laughable in its propaganda. It's unbelievable. It's so blatant. It's stunning. CNN, MSNBC in America, all of them, all these mainstream. Don't, I would say to people, don't just throw away these cliches that people do. Oh, you never believe what the media tells you. Don't just say it, act on it. What I see is people who will tell you, oh, you don't believe what the media tells you. They go ahead and do it. Oh, governments lie. You can't believe politicians. But they then do believe in whatever they're told without question. Grow up, grow a pair, grow a backbone, and grow some self-respect and dignity. Mm-hmm. And start deciding your own opinions instead of having officialdom tell you what they should be and you just accepting it. See, the thing is, the difference between the awakening and the solid gold asleep is that the way they reach their conclusions is totally different. The fast asleep, the do anything, believe anything the government tells you, the conclusion is the start of the process. It's not like the awakening where the conclusion is the end of the process. So the awakening will take information, they'll look at what governments are saying, they'll look at what others are saying, they'll do their own research, and through that amalgamation of information and filtering that information, they will come to a conclusion. Whereas the asleep, not least the woke mentality, a classic example of it, the conclusion comes first. This is how it is. The information that they receive is irrelevant. The conclusion is already decided, and they don't process information because the conclusion's already there. The government says it, so it must be true. And they don't need, they think, to go and look at alternatives and those crazy people saying there's a conspiracy, because they've already reached their conclusion, and that's immovable. If you want freedom, then live freedom, because you're never going to have freedom if you don't live it. And, this is a time that we do not for a second give up, because, they say the darkest time, the darkest hour is just before dawn. Well, we're in the darkest hour. We're going to see that in the next 2 years. But this dawn is not as far away as people think it is. Come on, people. We don't give up now. We push on.